Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nazon. Today we're going to talk about the 15-year mortgage versus the 30-year mortgage. Let's start with the advantages of the 15-year mortgage. We'll start with interest rates. You're going to get a lower interest rate compared to a 30-year mortgage, and you're going to pay tremendously less money in interest over the life of the loan. You're going to pay off your loan quicker, and you're going to build equity faster in that home because more money is going to be going towards principal than actually going towards interest on the loan itself. I personally like this option. I plan on using one of my properties that's going to be paid off in 10 more years to leverage the paid off mortgage and use that as a down payment on a $2.5 million apartment building, and I'm just going to do a cash out refi for $750,000 for the down payment. What are the disadvantages to a 15-year mortgage? Well, your mortgage payment on a 15-year is going to be significantly higher than the mortgage payment would be on a 30-year mortgage. Higher debt to income ratio since your mortgage payment is going to be larger since you went with the 15-year mortgage. Now, depending on how much money you make versus how much money your mortgage payment is, it may make it a little bit more difficult to get an additional loan. Opportunity risk. You may miss out on potential investments because you went with the shorter mortgage as opposed to having a lower payment with the 30-year mortgage. Investors, you're going to have less monthly cash flow. Here are some of my numbers that I have on a 15-year mortgage that I have on a duplex versus a 30-year mortgage that I currently have on a triplex. The 30-year mortgage has a monthly payment of $2,200 a month. I gross $4,050 a month, so I have a net profit of $1,850 a month. On the 15-year mortgage, the monthly payment is $2,701. I'm currently making $3,170 a month total gross, and I'm walking away with a net profit of $469. As of September 2019, mortgage rates are super low right now. On a 30-year mortgage, you can get a mortgage for 3.75%. On a 15-year mortgage, you can get it as low as 3.12%. That's outstanding. Here's a quick screen grab that's going to show you guys how much money I'm paying in interest and principal towards my 15-year mortgage and also the principal and interest on my 30-year mortgage. What are the advantages of a 30-year mortgage? One, you're going to have a much smaller mortgage payment when compared to the 15-year mortgage. Two, even though you're paying more interest, you're going to write it all off when you do your taxes since it's an investment property anyway. You're going to have more cash remaining monthly, so you can put your money to work for you by investing it. You're also going to have a lower debt to income ratio, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you to qualify for another mortgage. What are the disadvantages for a 30-year mortgage? Basically, you could end up paying for this house 2 times over or more depending on the price of the house, and you're going to have a higher interest rate when compared to a 15-year mortgage. Potentially, you may end up working longer than you have to pay off the house depending on your age, and you're going to build equity slower. Another reason you may want to have a 30-year mortgage as opposed to a 15-year mortgage is cash flow, because stuff happens. Here's a quick list off the top of my head of expensive purchases I had to handle since becoming a landlord. 2 central air units, an 80-foot gutter getting destroyed by a hurricane, water pipes bursting in the extreme cold winters, 2 PTAC units breaking, squirrels chewing a hole through my roof. You can't make this stuff up. Evicting a tenant. Also, you're going to have to do some remodeling over time because no one wants to live in a place that looks 30 years old. Make sure you hit that like button. This greatly helps out my channel get promoted on the YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Remember, your tenants are paying you money monthly. They're going to want stuff fixed ASAP. And as a landlord, it's your responsibility to take care of it. Don't be a slumlord. Up next here is an amortization schedule on a 30-year mortgage versus a 15-year mortgage. The 30-year mortgage has a monthly payment of $1,432. So here's an example of a $300,000 house on a 4% interest rate on a 30-year mortgage. Over that course of time, you're going to spend over $215,000 in interest alone. The $300,000 house actually cost you over $515,000. Now, let's take a look at the 15-year mortgage for the same amount and the same interest rate. The 15-year mortgage payment is $2,219 a month. Note here that the interest is less than half of what you're going to pay over the 30-year mortgage. You're only going to spend $99,000 in interest, bringing the grand total to $399,000. That's a savings of over $116,000. Now, I know a lot of landlords and investors are probably sitting here going, but Steve, I don't care. The tenants, they pay for the mortgage, so it doesn't come out of my pocket. My answer is, depending on your short-term versus long-term goals, this may affect you. Now, one of the best things is inflation. Remember, you're on the fixed mortgage, so unless your property taxes go up or your homeowner's insurance goes up, your mortgage payment is going to stay the same. So over the course of 15 or 30 years, if you're making $50,000, if you keep getting little raises every year, in 30 years, you're still going to be making over $100,000 regardless, and your mortgage payment is going to be the same. On that 30-year mortgage, you can take that extra money you have left over and invest it. The price difference between a 15-year mortgage versus the 30-year mortgage was $786 a month. So if we take that leftover money every month and we invest it in something like an S&P 500 index that has an average return of 7%, over the course of 30 years, you're going to have over $950,000 in there. That's why I strongly encourage younger people to buy a property right after college when you're 21, so by the time you're 51, you already have $1 million in retirement. Add that with the money you put in your 401k, you'll be a multi-millionaire by the time you're 51. If that's feasible enough for you, sell a house, retire early at 51. Who wants to work till they're 60 or later? I'm going to run the numbers for me conservatively because I typically outperform the market average of 7%. I'm going to go with the average of 12% because over the course of 30 years, there are going to be some downtimes. That's just inevitable. So running the same exact contribution amount, I'd actually turn that into $2.5 million. And fortunately for me, I'm pretty frugal. All my investment property should be paid off by then. So besides my sports car hobby and traveling frugally through the world for retirement, but that's for another video. Also, one thing I want to point out, you don't have to take 30 years to pay off a 30-year mortgage. You can throw extra money at the principal and start chopping your time down. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'm NJ Millionaire Listing. I post there daily. And feel free to comment. I love interacting and answering questions for all my subscribers. Thank you for viewing.